In this video, we are going to see the moving average process of order 1, or simply the MA1 process. So now, what is the representation? So the representation is xt is equal to epsilon t plus alpha epsilon t minus 1, right? So where epsilon t follows the white noise process with zero mean and variance sigma square. So now what is the mean? So it is a simple step. Mean is expectation of xt is 0. So what is the variance? Variance is variance of xt. So that is nothing but variance of epsilon t plus alpha epsilon t minus 1. So that is nothing but variance of epsilon t and variance of alpha epsilon t minus 1. The covariance term will be 0. Right? So what is variance of epsilon t? It is sigma square. If I take alpha outside, it will become alpha square, and variance of epsilon t minus 1. So that will be sigma square plus alpha square. What is variance of epsilon t minus 1? It is sigma square. So variance of xt is 1 plus alpha square sigma square. So now what is the covariance term? So covariance between xt and xt plus h is nothing but gamma h. So what is xt? From here, from this expression, what is xt? It is epsilon t plus alpha epsilon t minus 1. So xt is epsilon t plus alpha epsilon t minus 1. What is xt plus h? Wherever t is there, I am going to substitute t plus h. So what is xt plus h? It is epsilon t plus h plus alpha epsilon t plus h minus 1. So now I am just going to split the terms. So covariance between xt and xt plus h is, so it is covariance between epsilon t and epsilon t plus h, epsilon t and epsilon t plus h, plus covariance between epsilon t and alpha into epsilon t plus h minus 1, epsilon t and alpha into epsilon t plus h minus 1. The third term is covariance between alpha into epsilon t minus 1 and epsilon t plus h. The last term is covariance between alpha epsilon t minus 1 and alpha epsilon t plus h minus 1, right? So last term t plus h minus 1. So I can write it as covariance between epsilon t and epsilon t plus h. I can take this alpha outside. Alpha into covariance between epsilon t plus h minus 1. And here I have alpha covariance between epsilon t minus 1 and epsilon t plus h. And here I have alpha. Two terms are there. So alpha square covariance between epsilon t minus 1 and epsilon t plus h minus 1. So now when h is equal to 0, what is the covariance term? So when h is equal to 0, covariance between xt and xt is nothing but variance of xt. So when h is equal to 0, what happens here? So here you should substitute 0, right, everywhere. So it is nothing but covariance between epsilon t and epsilon t plus alpha covariance between epsilon t and epsilon t minus 1. If I substitute 0 here, plus alpha covariance between epsilon t minus 1 epsilon t plus alpha square covariance between epsilon t minus 1 and epsilon t minus 1. So that would be, so what is the covariance between epsilon t and epsilon t? It is sigma square. So this is I not equal to j case, covariance is 0. So here I is not equal to j, covariance is 0. Here I is equal to j, covariance is nothing but the variance. So I have here alpha square sigma square. So that is nothing but 1 plus alpha square sigma square, same as this variance, right? So variance expression I should get it as same. Now when h is equal to 1, what happens? When h is equal to 1, covariance between xt and xt plus h is equal to, so here I should substitute 1, right? It is covariance between epsilon t and epsilon t plus 1, alpha covariance between epsilon t and h is equal to 1, epsilon t plus this term, alpha covariance between epsilon t minus 1 t plus 1 plus alpha square covariance between, here h is equal to 1, epsilon t minus 1 epsilon t. So what happens here? I is not equal to j, this will become 0. So this is not 0, this is sigma square. Here it will become 0, this will become 0. So now what is the covariance between xt and xt plus h when h is equal to 1? So it is alpha into sigma square, right? So when h is greater than or equal to 2, what happens? Covariance between xt and xt plus h is 0, right? So that is well known. Whenever h is greater than or equal to q, covariance will be 0. So how to write the ACF now? The ACF of MA1 process, rho h is equal to, so when h is equal to 0, ACF is always 1. When h is equal to 1, what is ACF? Covariance by variance, right? So when h is equal to 1, what is covariance? This term, alpha into sigma square, divide by variance. So variance is here. This term, covariance divided by variance. So it is nothing but alpha by 1 plus alpha square. When h is greater than or equal to 2, the ACF is 0. So this is the expression for ACF of MAQ process. So now how to derive the condition for invertibility of MAQ process. Invertibility of MA1 process. So this is important, invertibility of MA1 process, and it is simple also. So let epsilon t belonging to I be a white noise process. White noise process. So what is the mean? With mean 0, right? With mean 0 and variance. So what is the variance? It is sigma square. Let xt be a time series process. So let xt be a time series process such that, so what is the first one? We assume that xt follows the moving average process of order 1. So whenever we are proving invertibility, we take the negative coefficients in the model, right? Then xt also has a representation. So what is the representation? It is epsilon t minus alpha epsilon t minus 1. So we take this representation. So we can write it using a backward shift operator, epsilon t minus alpha, one step back from epsilon t. So it is b epsilon t. So I can take epsilon t outside. So this is the expression. So let theta of b is equal to 1 minus alpha b. So now I can write it as xt is equal to theta of b epsilon t. So now what is the invertible condition? So we know that, so we all know from the previous derivation, we know that the MA process is invertible. The MA process is invertible. So what is the condition, if you recall? If the roots of theta of B is equal to 0, roots of theta of B is equal to 0 lie outside the unit circle, right? Lie outside the unit circle. So now we know what is theta of B in MA1 process. So let us find out the roots of theta of B is equal to 0. So consider, so it is a very simple derivation. Consider theta of B is equal to 0. So what is theta of B? It is nothing but 1 minus alpha B is equal to 0. So what is B? B is 1 by alpha. So we know that the process is invertible. Process is invertible if root is outside the unit circle, right? Invertible if, that is, mod B is greater than 1. So what is mod B? It is nothing but mod 1 by alpha is greater than 1. So that is nothing but, so mod B is greater than 1 means B is 1 by alpha. Mod 1 by alpha is greater than 1. So that is nothing but mod alpha is less than 1. So what is the invertible condition? The condition for invertibility of MA1 process. So what is the condition? Invertibility of MA1 process is mod alpha is less than 1. So what is the meaning of that? Alpha must lie between minus 1 and plus 1. So that is here in this representation. So if you find out that alpha is between minus 1 and plus 1, so you can say that the process is invertible. So this is the invertible condition. So very important condition to decide the invertibility of moving average process of order 1. So if alpha is between minus 1 and plus 1, we can say that the process is invertible.